Hey everyone, and welcome back to Top Review 95, the podcast where we explore the tools, tech, and tips that help make movement easier, safer, and more empowering for people of all ages. I'm your host, and today we're diving into a hands-on review of a rollator that's been making waves in the mobility space, the Drive Medical Nitro Sprint Foldable Rollator Walker with seat, standard height, in sleek black. Now, let me be clear before we jump in. This isn't just another rollator. This one stands out because it tries to bridge the gap between indoor practicality and outdoor performance. And after spending quite a bit of time with it, I've got a lot to share. Not just the pros and cons, but the real-life experience of using it in day-to-day situations. So, grab a cup of coffee and let's break it down. Let's start with first impressions. The design of the Nitro Sprint feels refreshingly modern. It has a clean, streamlined aluminum frame that not only looks good, but hides the brake cables, which gives it a much neater appearance. And let me tell you, that really helps reduce the risk of snagging on furniture or bags when you're maneuvering indoors. It's one of those little details that speaks to thoughtful design. Visually, it gives off a premium feel. The matte black finish looks sharp, and everything from the backrest to the height adjustment controls is well constructed and user-friendly. I especially appreciated how the height markings are printed in bold white against the black background. It makes adjustments easier for users with vision challenges. But looks are only part of the equation. Let's talk functionality. And this is where the Nitro Sprint starts to earn its name. One of the biggest strengths is the wheel design. The large 10-inch front wheels really do a great job at smoothing out the ride when you're outdoors. Whether it's cracked sidewalks, cobblestones, or even just grassy patches, I found myself moving over them with much less effort than I've experienced with smaller wheeled rollators. The roll is smoother, and the need to constantly lift or adjust drops significantly. And when you're indoors, it still handles well, though I'll circle back with a few caveats. The seat and backrest deserve some love here too. The seat is padded, wide, and noticeably more comfortable than older rollator models I've tried. It sits slightly higher than some traditional walkers, which is a big win for me. No more dangling feet or awkward positions when taking a break. The backrest has also been upgraded in newer versions. It's contoured, supportive, and I felt more secure resting back in it than I expected. Now, about the folding mechanism. Drive Medical clearly wanted this to be intuitive and convenient, and for the most part, they succeeded. You simply lift up the seat and the rollator folds inward. There's a solid snap when it locks into place for storage or transport. It folds down to about 50% of its width, which makes getting it into a car trunk or closet much easier. It's compact, and this brings us to our first big caveat. Let's talk about the weight. While it's technically a lightweight aluminum rollator, it still feels substantial. When I tried lifting it into the back seat of a sedan, I noticed the strain. If you have upper body weakness or joint issues, lifting it repeatedly might be difficult. I'd say it's fine for occasional lifting, but if you're moving it in and out of a car multiple times a day, it could become tiring. Then there's maneuverability in tight spaces. While it navigates reasonably well indoors, especially in open floor plans, it's not ideal for narrow hallways or small bathrooms. The width and those large front wheels, while great outdoors, can make tight turns feel sluggish. A couple of times, I had to perform a little three-point turn just to get into the kitchen. Speaking of the wheels, some users, including myself, noticed occasional wheel wobble on certain surfaces. It wasn't dangerous, but it was noticeable. If you're used to a perfectly stable roll, it might take a bit of adjustment. Tight cornering can also require a little more control, especially if the terrain isn't even. Now, let's talk brakes. The handbrakes are generally responsive and easy to use. They offer good control when going downhill or stopping quickly. However, I do wish there were a more reliable parking brake feature. When seated, especially on a slight incline, I noticed a bit of shift if I leaned forward or tried to stand up too quickly. It didn't feel unsafe, but it did make me more cautious. A more secure parking lock would make a big difference in confidence for users with limited stability. One area where this rollator really shines is storage. The under seat bag has been redesigned in newer versions, so it's raised above the wheels. No more scraping or awkward interference. It's zippered, securely mounted, and removable if needed. That's something I appreciated during grocery runs and quick errands. So, what's the overall experience like? Outdoors, I felt confident and supported. I could walk longer distances without worrying about fatigue. The combination of the large wheels, strong frame, and comfortable seat meant that I could stop when needed and trust that the rollator wouldn't fail me. Indoors, while it worked well in general areas, I had to be more strategic in tight spots. The folding feature definitely helped with storage, but folding it quickly in a narrow hallway isn't always practical. Using it throughout the day, I started to feel like the Nitro Sprint would be a great companion for anyone who needs solid support, values independence, and regularly transitions between indoor and outdoor environments. Whether you're heading to a park, grocery store, or simply moving around your home, it adapts well, just not perfectly. That brings us to the bottom line. The Drive Medical Nitro Sprint isn't perfect, but it's one of the more thoughtfully designed rollators I've used. It strikes a balance between comfort, durability, and mobility that many users will appreciate. But like any mobility aid, it's all about fit. If you live in a small apartment with narrow doorways, or you struggle lifting heavier items, this might not be the best match. On the other hand, if you want a rollator that can handle real-world terrain, provide reliable rest breaks, and fold down for cart trips or storage, this is a strong contender. Before you make a decision, I'd recommend trying it in person if possible. Test how it feels at your height, see if its lifting is manageable for you, and make sure the turning radius works for your space. But from my own experience, this rollator brings more benefits than drawbacks. And if I were in the market for a new mobility device today, this would definitely be high on my list. Thanks for tuning in to Top Review 95. I'll catch you in the next episode, where we'll be comparing the Nitro Sprint with a few other popular mobility models to help you find your perfect mobility match. Until then, keep moving forward.